Meeting of the Duncanville Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of Board of Trustees is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting had been posted in accordance with Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. We will now move into closed session. Surprise, surprise. Good evening. I call this meeting of the Duncanville Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Ms. Cassandra Phillips will now lead us in our invocation part of our opening ceremonies.
Thank you, Madam President. Please stand as we bow our heads. Lord, we humbly come before you, thanking you for your love, mercy, and grace. We thank you for the safe return of our scholars, educators, administrators, staff, police, our board, and the entire Duncanville ISD community. Lord, we thank you for what you have done, what you are doing, and what you will do in and for our district. We are thankful for everyone who played a part in Duncanville ISD earning the top accountability rating in the Best Southwest. We ask for your continued guidance in every decision we make tonight and beyond. Lord, we ask you to heal the sick. Tonight we pray for our fellow board member, Phil McNeely, and his family. We ask that you comfort those who have lost loved ones. We are sending our sincerest condolences to the Rich family and all the families who have lost a loved one. Lord, wrap your loving arms around them all. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Ms. Phillips. Miss Janice Savage Martin has volunteered to lead us in our pledges. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I pledge allegiance. Thank you, Janice. We now move into our superintendent's report. Dr. Smith, you're up to bat.
All right. Well, thank you, Madam President. Good evening, board members. Good evening to staff and citizens that are here today. In case you didn't know, today was the first day of school in Duncanville ISD. And so my first item that I would like to report on is to share a brief video, and then I'll make some comments about the first day of school. Welcome to Duncanville ISD, first day of school, D-Ville day one. Let's go check it out.
Hi, I'm Barry Gordon, the mayor of the city of Duncanville, with just a small number of the over 800 teachers in our school district who are here to help you achieve your best. And so welcome to the first day of school, and
have a great D-Ville Day 1!
So we just ended the first day of what's going to be an amazing school year. Today, I got to see Duncanville ISD at its finest. So our students came in, they were excited, they were ready to learn, and our teachers were excited, prepared to make this the best school year ever. Parents, your love and support, that's the foundation of our success. So from pre-K to high school, from our maintenance to administration, you made today a very special day. So thank you for doing your part as we continue to write success stories one student at a time. So I want to encourage you to keep this momentum throughout the course of the school year because our best is yet to come. So just some data on the first day of school. I had an opportunity to tour 9 campuses today. And a couple of campuses I went into, it was so quiet, I said, gosh, did any students are here today? So it was just an indication of the organization and the preparation that goes into preparing for a successful first day of school. We were able to document our day on social media. We used the hashtag DVilleDay1 that you see there. And so today we had a little under 11,400 students in our enrollment today, and that number will continue to increase up through Labor Day. I'll be continuing to track that data and that information, and of course sharing that information with the board. We also, last school year, we met with many of our city officials to come up with a way that we could have some level of partnership. And so you may have noticed the mayor was at several of our campuses this morning, and other city council members that you saw in the photos. That was a result of some meetings that we had, conversations that we had last year to have more of a partnership in our first day of school. And so it was really good to see many of the city council members participating in the first day of school activities. We'll continue with our back to school events. We have Meet the Teacher for intermediate and middle schools later this week. And then after Labor Day, actually with the middle schools after Labor Day and the high school after Labor Day. We have elementary and intermediate this week. So pardon me for that little slippage there. So we're excited about all the back to school activities and looking forward to just continuing the momentum that we've established over the course of the summer in our planning and preparation. The next item that I have is to share with the board is the national information on the National Math and Science Initiative. While I make a few comments, I'm going to ask Mrs. Tammy Knapp and Terry West to come up, and while you're making your way up, I'll just kind of make a few comments. So we had Dr. Nika Bernard and other team members work together to make this happen. And so we're really excited about what this is going to mean for our district and for our teachers. And I've asked Ms. Knapp and Ms. West to come and give the board just an overview. So I want to turn it over to you.
All right, well, thank you very much. I am Terry West. I am the chairman of the board of the Texas Instruments Foundation, and it is indeed a pleasure to be here with you this evening. Congratulations on your accountability rating. That's excellent. And I can see just from the pictures that you showed today and your commitment to the first day back, it is the reason we are so excited at the Texas Instruments Foundation to partner with NIMSY and with you with the College Readiness Program. There are really 3 reasons that the foundation that we are excited about the College Readiness Program. First, it has a focus in STEM, and we believe STEM truly is an opportunity door opener for students. Education, you all know because you're here, is critically important. STEM education, we think, is especially important because it really brings opportunity to students. Second, our world needs more STEM, qualified students coming out of universities, and this program helps get them ready for that. And then third, we know this program works. This is something that the Texas Instruments Foundation has put money into for more than 20 years now. And what we see is that you see numbers nationwide that when schools and districts commit fully to the college readiness programs, their scores on AP exams can be 10x in the first year of what the national average is. So it gets results quickly, and then it keeps improving over time. We commend you. Clearly you're committed to the success of your students, and we are committed to doing our part to help fund it. You clearly have put skin in the game with your willingness to help fund as well, and we appreciate that. We're also very, very pleased that you're working with, or will work with NIMSY and two other local school districts, DeSoto and Cedar Hill, because the richness of the program, I think, will be enhanced by that, and we're very excited to see what comes of that. So let me turn it over to the expert from NIMSY, and I'm sure she'll give you some additional details on the program in general. Thank you.
Thank you, Board President, the school board, and Dr. Smith for allowing us to present today just a short little piece on the NIMSY partnership that we have here. I first want to thank Ms. Bernard for all the time that she spent working with me and having to put up with me to bring this partnership to Duncanville. People don't realize how many countless hours we spend on the phone getting data and talking and working through everything. So thank you to her as well as the schools for everything that you have done so far, and it's just begun. This is a 3-year partnership that is funded by the Texas Instruments Foundation, and we are super excited to bring 2 of our flagship programs, the College Readiness Program as well as the Laying the Foundation training to the teachers and students and of the schools here in Duncanville. We started out already this summer having teachers come to the summer institutes from all around the country. We had a large Summer Institute event here. So your teachers are getting to experience training not only with just local teachers, but also getting to talk with teachers across the country and get to collaborate with them. So that's what's a little bit different about our program, that AP teachers generally are the Lone Ranger on their campus. There's generally not like 5 or 6 AP Physics 1 teachers or AP Biology teachers. So this gives them a chance to collaborate with others, work with others, get ideas, and so forth to bring back to your students. The goals of this partnership are to get more students into taking these advanced level courses as well as be successful, so providing the supports, the opportunities for them through teacher support, student support, and as well as the school support. With me today is our Chief Financial Officer, Tammy Knapp, as well as Ronisha Williams. And so Ronisha will be the boots on the ground person from NIMSY, working with the campuses directly to make sure this program is implemented with fidelity. And so we are looking for those results, and we'll be back to report those probably next year at this time. We're looking for that great success that we know will happen with the schools through this partnership. Thank you again to the board, the community, to the parents, to the students, to the teachers, everyone that will be involved. We look forward to everything that this partnership entails.
Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
Texas Instruments, how much did you award our district?
Say it again, I couldn't hear you.
How much did you award our district?
$765,000.
Whoa. Great.
We believe in you, and we believe in this program.
Wow.
Thank you for
Thank you
investing
so
in
much,
us.
so much.
Great.
Our
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Appreciate you.
All right, I had one other item on the superintendent's report. It's just to update on the security enhancements across the district. As we come back to school, obviously at the end of the year, throughout the summer, we're evaluating, in particular at the high school, trying to increase and enhance the safety there. Obviously, you all know in the past it's been a very open concept in a lot of areas that are high visibility areas that we needed to address. And so we've got several new fencing and gates, more badge controlled access gates across the high school premises. We've added security cameras in a number of areas, what we kind of call the hot spots there. We've also made some adjustments in our parking, and the student parking permits are now required, and so we're working with students to adjust and adapt to that. We've added 2 new police officers, and just a number of things that we've done across the high school premises to make sure that we are providing as safe environment as possible for our students. And so it will take some time probably to adjust to some of the more restrictive areas, and so want to share that with the board and with our community as well as we work to help our students and our parents and even our community members who maybe use some of the facilities during the day get accustomed to some of the access points that we've provided a little more control over. So we're really excited about that. And so, Madam President, that concludes Superintendent's report for this evening.
Thank you. We now move to recognitions and commendations, and Mrs. Tiara Richard will be our presenter.
Good evening, Madam President, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Smith. Tonight, I'm going to ask that a couple people come down, Mr. David Brandon and Mr. Jeff King. Can we give them a big round of applause as they come forward? So if you're not aware, I wanted them up here at the front so you can see them as I say all these wonderful things about them. Of course, Mr. David Brandon is our current band director at the high school, and Mr. Jeff King, he's the director of fine arts in Irving ISD currently, but has been here and is always going to be a member of the Duncanville family. Also in recognition tonight, who could not attend, Thomas Shine, clinician and judge, but previous band director, and also Mr. Brian Merrill, who's retired, but he is a part of the Mansfield Wind Symphony and is also a clinician here with our band. So today we are recognizing the band, the Duncanville High School Band, for basically an award they received just last month from the Texas Band Masters Association. So in San Antonio, they were recognized as the 2019 Exemplary Band Program. This award is a huge honor. Only one high school in the entire state of Texas is selected for this honor. And essentially, the Duncanville High School Band was selected for years of tradition and legacy and excellence and maintaining that over an extended period of time. That's why you have multiple band directors who are being recognized for this. So I'll give you a little bit of background on that. So the DHS Wind Ensemble has been the TMEA Region 20 honor band every year since 1980. Wow. Every year. That's excellence, right? That band has also, the Wind Ensemble has also placed in the state finals 10 times. That has led to their selection as the 1998, 2004, and 2008 TMEA 5A honor band, making them the only band to win 3 5A honor bands. The only band. So when we talk about excellence, this is just more examples of that excellence that we talk about with this band. Most recently, the band was the second runner-up in the 2019 6A honor band competition. In 2019, the Duncanville Band earned their 41st consecutive UIL Sweepstakes Award. 41st. Again, another example of excellence, just long-serving, committed, year after year. Over these years, the Duncanville Marching Band has been the UIL state champion in 1986, 1990, and 2002, and is the only large classification band in Texas to advance to the state marching band contest every year since 1988. Every year. Again, excellence upon excellence. So the 400-member band, Duncanville Marching Band, has received first division ratings at UIL contests for over 4 decades. I mean, you can't beat that sort of excellence that's lived on and those traditions that continue forward. And our kids benefit from all of this, right? Yeah. Our kids benefit from this level of excellence that takes them from the band into their personal lives. And so I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Brandon and Mr. King if they'd like to say a few words, especially about our kids and the traditions that they've continued for them.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for the opportunity to speak before you and for recognizing us for the TBA Exemplary High School Program. We know where it all comes from. It comes from our kids. The Duncanville kids, I've been here 23 years, they get better and better and better every single year, despite what chatter and stuff that we hear. I love teaching here more than I ever have before, and it's because of them. It's also because of the community that produced those kids, and it's also because of the administration that supports us and helps us do what we can do, do things at the very highest level with them. So we really appreciate what you give us. We really love our kids, and they can do just incredible things when we allow them to. So thank you so much.
Good evening, Dr. Smith, President Fahey, friends, my Duncanville family. It's good to be back here. I think the last time I was at this lectern, the board had me come back, and my leaving Duncanville was quick. my opportunity, the door opened, so I was offered a position as Director of Fine Arts. And so I didn't really have a chance to say goodbye to everyone, so the board was gracious enough to have me come back and acknowledge the work that I've done. I've lived in Duncanville for 21 years. My wife is a teacher, a music teacher at Acton Elementary, and I taught here in Duncanville for 26 years. David and I, we heard all the accolades earlier, and he says, that makes me nervous. And I said, it makes me nervous too. You know, every time you're standing in front of the group and you're going, well, they've never gotten anything less than a first division, and I do not want to be the very first one to not fulfill. So there's those pressures. I am such a fan of Duncanville, and with Stephen Moss's leadership and Mr. Brandon and the rest of the staff, I know greater things are possible here in Duncanville. My daughter was went to Hastings and Daniel Intermediate, and then the 9th grade school, and then the high school, and married her high school sweetheart, and has 3 kids, so I have 3 grandkids, and that's all Duncanville proud. So ain't no band like a D-ville band. Thank you very much.
Mr. King took my closing.
I got 2 others. It's besides the ain't no, you know.
Yes.
There's the where pride makes a difference.
Yes.
And the best band in the land. So
Absolutely.
think of another one.
I'll take them all. Thank you. And to carry this tradition forward, the communications department is actually working on a docuseries that looks back at the history of our band and that level of excellence and what it means for our band to have and continue this sort of tradition moving forward. So you'll see that coming in the next month, and so I wanted to give you a little bit of advance notice about that too. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Richard. Now it's time that we move into the consent agenda items. Anyone want to make a motion?
Yes, Ms. President, I'd like to move that we consider moving items 6C, D, E, sorry, not E, F, G, H, K, L, and N to the consent agenda.
Second.
Thank you, Cassandra. Janice Savage Martin has moved and Cassandra Phillips seconded the motion to amend the agenda as stated. Moving items 6C, D, F, G, H, K, L, and N. Are there any questions, comments, or discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Thank you. Motion passes 5-0. Now, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended?
So moved.
Thank you, Cassandra Phillips, for moving, and
Second.
thank you, Janice Savage Martin, for your second. To approve the consent agenda as amended, are there any questions, comments, or discussions? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Thank you. Motion passes 5-0. At this time, we will conduct a public meeting to allow public participation in discussion of the proposed tax rate for the 2019-2020 fiscal year, and the presenter is Dr. Ed Bigby.
Good evening.
Good
Seems like
evening.
it's been a month since we saw you.
Yeah, something like that.
According to law, before you can adopt the tax rate, we have to hold a public hearing. There's no real definition of how that comes about other than we have to hold a public meeting. So we've got a couple of slides to, boy, it's going by itself, that's good. To discuss the proposed rate, and then there'll be an agenda item later if you would, we'll be asking you to approve the rate. As you're aware, we didn't have a lot of choice in tax rate this year. The legislature told us what our tax rate would be. There's a compression factor of 93% of our old tax rate, which was $1.17. And that comes down to a tax rate for the maintenance and operation of $1.683. Actually, the state published $1.8 84. But if you look at the law, that would have been a thousandth of a penny too much, and we would have had to have a rollback election. So we chose to drop that by that 1/1000th of a penny. It's 10.17 cents lower than this year's tax rate of $1.17 for maintenance and operation. The INS tax rate we're asking you to approve is 35 cents, just as it was last year. You can see the comparisons there. Last year, there was a total tax rate approved at $1.52. This year, we'll be asking you to approve $1.4183 total, or a 10.17 cent reduction. The average home value went up about 7.8%, or the value went up almost $7,900. And with the new tax rate in place, even with the increase in value, the taxes on an average home will only go up $7.70. And it's the average home value. And that's it. Unless you have questions or some public comments.
Yes, this is open to the public. Speak now or forever. Okay. I guess there's no one. With there being no public discussion, this public meeting is now closed. We now move to action item B, the adoption of the tax rate for 2019-2020 fiscal year for the general fund and debt service fund. And Dr. Ed Bigby.
Yes, we're asking you to approve the resolution that sets the tax rate for the 1920 school year as discussed. It's the total tax rate of, I lost my place, $1.4183, with 35 cents being for interest and sinking and $1.683 for the maintenance and operations. Would entertain any questions you might have.
Any questions? Do I have a motion in regards to the adoption of the tax rate for 2019-2020 fiscal year for the general fund and debt service fund? Well, don't all just raise your hands at once.
So moved.
Thank you, Cassandra Phillips. Anyone want a second?
Second.
Thank you, Janet Vera Cruz. Cassandra Phillips has moved and Janet Vera Cruz has seconded the motion. Are there any questions, comments, or discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Thank you. Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
We will now move to action item E, which is the projects to be funded from surplus 2014 bond funds, and the presenter is Dr. Ed Bigby.
I appreciate you bunching those all together.
Well, I
And
like
we
for you
get
to
my
play
age, you
Jack
don't
in the
like to get
Box.
up and down. House Bill 440 that was passed by this legislature set forth actually how you can spend surplus or excess bond funds. As listed in your agenda, they can be used for the specific purpose that they were originally authorized. You can retire bonds with them, or if the board votes in a public meeting, then you can use those funds for whatever operations the board deems necessary or approved for the district to use. As you know, we have about $10 million left in the bond, including the interest that was accrued with it. And we've listed there in your work some items that we would like for you to consider approving to pay out of bond rather than to pull it out of either fund balance or the TRE money that we've been able to generate. There's a total there of about $8.8 million, which is still going to leave about $2 million in that bond fund. And one problem you run into is once you pass 5 years and you haven't spent your bond funds, you run into what's called arbitration. And arbitration. It's not arbitration. Arbitrage.
Arbitrage.
I'm sitting there going to discuss it with you, I guess. Arbitrage, where we actually have to start paying taxes on the money that we gain from that. So we'd much rather see it invested in things that the district's going to do anyway, rather than to pay the government the money. So you can see those listed. I've got the prices for those individually if you'd like to have those. before you vote on it, or certainly answer any questions that you might have. So actually, some of the money, like the turf replacement, some of the money for that has already been spent. We would just reimburse that from bond funds.
Any questions? Looking out tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, do I have a motion in regards to projects to be funded from the surplus 2014 bid bond?
I make a motion that we approve the use of the 2014 surplus funds for the mentioned above projects.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Cassandra. Janice Savage Martin has moved, and Cassandra Phillips has seconded the motion. Are there any questions, comments, or discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Thank you. Motion passed 5-0.
Thank you.
We will now move to action item I, which is Achieve 3000. The presenter is Kathy Sewell.
Good evening, Madam President, Dr. Smith, and members of the school board. Thank you for the opportunity to present this evening to request your consideration for the approval of Achieve 3000 renewal for our elementary schools and for Duncanville High School, and also for implementation and purchase approval to begin Achieve 3000 in our intermediate and middle schools. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Ms. Sewell? I don't think so. Do I have a motion in regards to Achieve 3000? Am I going to have to pull teeth? Thank you, Janice.
I move that we, one, renew the Achieve 3000 agreement for use at the elementary schools and the high school, and to implement Achieve 3000 for the intermediate and middle schools.
Thank you, Janice. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Cassandra. It has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions, comments, or discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Thank you. Motion's passed 5-0. We will now move to action item J to consider the iStation contract renewal, and that is by Kathy Sewell also.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam President and Board of Trustees, Dr. Smith. The second action item I'm here to request approval for is the renewal of iStation, which is a screener that we have implemented in reading and math across our grade levels for K through 8. And iStation has been part of the district. We're requesting board approval to renew for the 19-20 school year. We use iStation predominantly as a universal screener to assist our teachers in knowing formatively how students are doing in math and reading skills, as well as to support our math and reading center teachers as they work with students to get them on grade level through the iStation program. And so I'd be happy to answer any other questions, but this is where we use the product and what it's used for to accelerate for our at-risk students in response to intervention with our reading center and math center teachers.
Do I have a motion in regards to the iStation contract renewals?
So with the iStation, you have seen great improvement and some great results with this. Is this why we're sticking with this?
Yes, we are reviewing the implementation of it from last year, and we are looking at the results. We do have some improved results, and I can get a report together for you all for the September board meeting, or get to Dr. Smith to distribute. We do have students that are improving with iStation, not only in phonemic awareness, graphophonemic awareness, blends, and things of that nature, but also in other areas, particularly in reading comprehension and fluency. Also, we are using it with our math center teachers as well, for math facts, math fluency, and things of that nature.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Do I have a motion in regards to the iStation contract renewal?
I move that we approve the renewal of iStation.
Thank you, Ms. Savage Martin. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Janet Vera Cruz. It has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions, comments, or discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Thank you. Motion passed 5-0. We will now move to action item M, and that is the adoption of the Davis-Bacon wage rates for district facilities projects. Ms. Andrea Fields.
And good evening, Madam President, board members, and Dr. Smith and waiting audience. This evening, it's my pleasure to present to you an action item regarding the adoption of the Davis-Bacon wage rates for prevailing wages for the future projects that we hope to achieve in Duncanville through our facilities. As you are aware, through the information that you received, that Texas Government Code Chapter 2258 requires that political subdivisions of the state, such as school districts, adopt prevailing wage rates for projects paid for in whole or part by public funds. And of course, a few, I guess, weeks ago now, you gave us the approval to move forward with the Teaching and Learning Center, which of course is the former Acton. You also gave us approval for the athletic parking, and then of course the police department, which is the renovation of the old admin building. And so because this is governed by the United States of Labor, in accordance with the Davis-Bacon Act, provides a wage determination for each classification of mechanics and laborers employed on a project, similar to the contract work that's really prevailing wage in our area and in the state. Of course, this federal law governs all 50 states and the District of Columbia, and because it is really kind of determined by what the local market will bear, we have various rates. Our rate here in Duncanville or in the Metroplex would be much different than in New York City for a laborer or a person who would work on the project. And so what we're asking you to do for us tonight, you have attached a resolution that will be, if you pass it and approve it, will be a part of the RFP that we will release, where we bundle the projects together as you all have asked us to release that here in the next coming days. And that information, when people respond to the proposal, they will know, because you have taken action to say that any contractors or subcontractors, those laborers, those carpenters, those mill workers, those concrete persons, et cetera, the steel workers, and whatever we'll need to bring the projects to fruition, they will be paid a prevailing wage. And so we're asking you that not only for the projects that you have already approved, but in the future. So that way we won't have to keep coming back to you and asking you, and we want to do what's right for the people who will be doing the work. And so with that, we're asking your approval, and I'll entertain questions. We did run this by our legal counsel, and they really kind of gave us advice on what we need to do moving forward. And then, of course, we have consulted with our architects, because we want the best general contractor we can find for Duncanville, and then we want them to have the best workers. And so this will, of course, help support us with that quest.
Thank you, Ms. Fields. Are there any questions for Ms. Fields? Okay, do I have a motion in regards to adopting Davis-Bacon wage rates for district facilities projects?
Madam President, I move to approve the resolution for the use of the Davis-Bacon wage rates for district facilities projects.
Thank you, Ms. Phillips. Is there a
Second.
second? Thank you, Ms. Savage Martin. It has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions, comments, or discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Motion passed 5-0. Thank you, Ms. Fields. We now move to our last action item, that would be O, in regards to the proximity learning contract for 2019-2020, and Ms. Kathleen Brown. Is that about time you got up?
Well, thank you, Madam President, Dr. Smith, Board of Trustees. It is my pleasure to speak with you this evening about proximity learning. I'm bringing this to you in our effort to meet the needs of our students, to make sure that our students have quality teachers in every classroom. We are asking for your consideration this evening of proximity learning. Per board policy CH local, any single purchase over $50,000 must, of course, require board approval. And so I would like to first start by sharing some information with you on proximity learning. So starting with our 2019 recruitment efforts, our recruiting starts annually in January of each year for the following school year. And on this year, Duncanville ISD recruiting team attended over 25 job fairs during the spring semester. In addition to that, we had our own in-district job fair during the month of April with over 600 attendees at that job fair. Thanks to you, you also approved an increase in our starting teacher salary to $53,000 and gave general pay increases across all of our other pay groups as well. And so with that, we have seen great success. Our outcomes of those efforts, we have processed right over 325 new hires just this summer to join our amazing team here in the district. And that's the great work of our campus and departments, as well as the awesome team I have the opportunity to work with, making sure that those individuals are here to serve our students on day one. So over 190 of these new hires are teachers. Approximately 50 of those are serving right here at Duncanville High School. And so due to those recruitment efforts, we are starting our year this year with fewer vacancies than we've had over previous years. And so that is excellent and to be celebrated. And so despite those efforts, as we know, there is still a teacher shortage, not only statewide, but nationwide, especially in specific areas, those areas being math and science and in the foreign languages. And we are feeling the effects of that here in our district as well. So proximity learning, I know some of you have heard of it already, and so just to give an overview of what proximity learning is, it's fully accredited, online, K through 12 learning solution. Our students have the opportunity to have a certified teacher who's not in the classroom with them, but could be anywhere. It could be in another country, it could be across the United States, but they are, one of our requirements in the district is that they are certified in the state of Texas. So sometimes that's someone who's married to someone in the military and they're not here in the state and they can't be in a classroom, but they're certified in Texas and they can work for proximity, become a teacher with us and work virtually via web conferencing with our students. So how we've used it over the past 2 years, you'll see some of those same areas where we've had need in the past, in Spanish, in math, in science. On last year, even in English, we used proximity learning. One of the highlights I want to make sure that you're aware of is that we've seen comparable student results with our performance of our students. And so throughout the year, we are looking at our students' data to make sure on our district assessments that they are trending the same as our students who are in that traditional setting. Year one was a little scary for us. We didn't know what that was going to look like, and we learned a lot along the way. Also, thanks to you, we increased our bandwidth in the district, and so some of those issues that we've had in the past have gotten smoother over year two. And we know that this is a non-traditional model, and so I think as adults, we were more concerned than our students. They spend a lot of time talking to people virtually anyway, and so I think that that is one of the reasons we've seen these favorable results. A fourth piece of it is digital facilitators. Those individuals serve as proctors in the classroom, and so they are monitors. So although that teacher may be miles and miles away, there is someone in the classroom monitoring our students, making sure they have what they need, that they're online, that they're engaged in the instruction. Our teachers, we're on a block schedule, of course, and so the virtual teacher is there the first hour of the class. The last 30 minutes is work time, and that proctor is in the room to ensure that those students are working on their work. So for this year, what we are looking at, some of those same areas, specifically in Spanish, geometry, algebra 2, physics, and chemistry. We have economics and world history up there, but just at the end of last week, after this presentation was already made, we found individuals for those two classes, and so those two would be coming off the list. This will allow us to continue our search for qualified staff. So that's one of the great things about our partnership with Proximity Learning, is that if we find a qualified, certified teacher along the way, since we pay monthly, we have the opportunity to discontinue for that class, hire that teacher in to continue the year. And so we, of course, would continue to look at student performance. Our high school has done an amazing job this year with hiring. Mr. McDonald and his team, they are nothing short of extraordinary. And so they have filled lots of positions just last Thursday and Friday, like I said, getting 2 more individuals on board. And one of the things that they've done is we have our substitute pool. And we have not hired, but we have digital facilitators, or those that we would like to become digital facilitators that started in those classrooms where we have vacancies on day 1. So they were already there today, building those relationships with those students as substitutes in the class. And if you approve, those would be the same individuals that would be hired full-time as digital facilitators in that class. And that's just another part of the proactive approach that our leadership team at the high school has taken this summer. So timeline for implementation, so some of this is past tense because we have already been working on the possibility of this being accessible to our students, is that we've been looking at digital facilitators and screening them, and they are processed currently as substitutes and are in the classroom with our students. Should you approve tonight, we would hire those digital facilitators in the morning. The HR team has processed 325. Those next 11 won't be a problem for us. So by the end of the day tomorrow, they would be full-time employees with the district. They've already been working on room setup and technology needs and what those things would look like for the campus. And later this week, we've worked with Proximity to tentatively schedule a parent orientation that would be communicated out tomorrow so that our parents have an opportunity to learn what that looks like. One new feature that they have with Proximity that we learned about today is that parents have the opportunity during the day to log on as well, and they can see the class going on as it's going on. So they'll share a login as well and be able to see what instruction is looking like. And students also, and they've had this opportunity in the past, can always go back in, watch that lesson again as well. And we think that that helps with those comparable results because I can hear that lesson over and over again if needed. During the week of August 26th through the 30th, we'd be finalizing technology processes and training. Our students would have to be trained as well. And then day 1 would be September 3rd with proximity learning in the classroom for our students. So key points to know or to remember, the contract allows us to add or remove classes as needed. That is important. As a returning customer, all of our startup services are expedited, so we skip the line. So I spoke with our representative prior to this meeting, and he said, if it's approved, Duncanville will start with you tomorrow. And so they are ready to serve us. And then, of course, the teachers are certified and currently able to meet our needs. One point that's not up there that I want to share with you is how we pay for this. It's listed on here as local funds, and so those vacancies where we're not paying staff is how we fund the contract for proximity learning. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have at this time. Yes, ma'am.
How are the parents notified that they can view the lessons?
At the parent orientation, that'll be a part of it for parent orientation, and those who do not attend parent orientation, that information would be sent to them so that they have a login to get in to look at the lesson if they so choose.
Was that available last year?
That's new this year, that they'll be able to get in, and they don't have to do it, but if I know that class is at this time and I want to listen in, I can definitely listen in. They won't see the students or anything, they'll only see the teacher.
Oh, shoot, I was thinking that might help with
No,
the
ma'am, I
behavioral
thought that's
problems.
where you were going. They don't get to look in the class, just at the teacher.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. And they don't have the ask question feature. Our students can ask questions of the teachers, the parents are only listening in.
Wow,
Okay,
that's incredible.
thank you.
Yes.
Ms. Brown, I want to commend you and your team on this program because my daughter she did participate in this program the first year.
Yes, ma'am.
And we preferred that option over a substitute indefinitely.
Absolutely.
So it worked out really well. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Okay.
Sure, Jackie.
Mrs. Brown, I would just like to commend you and your team for the awesome job of hiring 300 and something staff members. I mean, y'all have done an excellent job, and I appreciate that. And I realize with proximity learning that, there is a digital, teacher in the classroom, but it's just a stopgap.
Absolutely.
And y'all have structured it such a way as to when you're able to find a teacher and put them in the classroom, then there is no financial obligation. It's a month-to-month basis. So I just have to commend you for your efforts and your team's efforts in bringing this to the school district.
Thank you.
Well, do I have a motion in regards to proximity learning contract for 2019-2020? Did you sing something to me?
did. I was
Okay, okay, was that making
was
a
singing the
motion?
motion.
Okay, well, I like that. Welcome to,
Okay,
yeah.
Madam President.
Oh, yeah, okay.
We move to approve the agreement to purchase Proximity Learning Services as a distance learning technology for Duncanville ISD for up to 11 classrooms during 2019 and 2020 school year.
Thank you, Ms. Phillips, but I like that song.
Prefer
Yeah.
the singing?
Is there a second?
I do. I second.
Thank you, Ms. Vera Cruz. It has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions, comments, or discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Thank you. Motion passes 5-0. Last, we now get to move into the information and discuss agenda with only one item, and it's a good one. Accountability ratings for 2018-2019 by Ms. Kathy Sewell.
Okay, thank you so much, Madam President. Board of Trustees, Dr. Smith. It gives me great pleasure to be here this evening, a year later, to report to you the progress of Duncanville ISD with accountability with the state of Texas. And this evening, I'm going to go over some of the accountability measures. We do have some review. We did our preliminary report back in June, so we'll just do a quick review on some of those components and then get to our scores. So if you all will recall, in 2018, districts were awarded a letter grade, but campuses were awarded met standard, met alternative standard, or improvement required. So this part of the accountability system has now changed where campuses are now also getting a letter grade. So that's a little different from the year before. So we do have scores, a score report for each campus, but their actual standard last year was met standard and improvement required. This year they get a letter grade. So to calculate the overall accountability rating, as a quick review, 70% of the better of the three measures are through student achievement. Student achievement is STAR scores. The school progress measure is made up of two parts. One is student growth, how students grow from year to year, and relative performance. And we'll look at this at our next slide. Relative performance is how the district does in comparison to other school districts that have similar socioeconomic status. 30% is closing the achievement gaps, and this is where we are rated on closing the gaps between different socioeconomic groups in different categories academically. And so for our district summary, as you can see, those three domains are there: student achievement, student growth, and relative performance. The highest that we received of the three that will be averaged in is 87%. Under 2019 for relative performance. So when compared to other districts, we scored an 87%, which gave us 70% of our accountability rating. And then our 30% under closing the achievement gaps went up from a 67 to a 76%, which gives us an overall score from last year a 73 to this year an 84. And again, as I will reiterate, the best in the best Southwest School District zone. Yay, so we're very excited. And every team member, all of us worked very hard together. Our principals and SLT, we all, our teachers, just everyone should be commended for such a hard job. And I want to thank Dr. Smith and the school board for all of your support as we've improved. Some notes here are three formerly IR schools have had double-digit growth. We're very excited about all of their performance. And the next listing you will see here are a listing of our schools, their last year's rating along with their numeric average, and this year's rating, which is a letter grade, with their numeric equivalent. So you'll see all of the schools listed in front of you here for elementary. And we'll talk about Bill Hart's in just a moment. And then our second ratings are here for intermediate, middle, and our secondary high schools. So we have lots of Bs, and we have some high Cs, we have some really good scores, and we still have some work to do as well, but overall, we have improved as a district. The next area I want to visit with you about for just a moment are distinction designations. And a distinction designation is based upon a comparison of a school with 39 other schools for a group of 40 across the state of Texas. And so what TEA does is they compare like schools that are similar in size, similar in demographics, and they have similar grade spans. And so when they compare those 40 schools, if the school is in the top quartile, or the top 10, they receive a distinction designation. And in elementary, that is 50% of the indicators, they have to get 50% or better to get in that top quartile. And in high schools, it's 33%. And so our next slide is very exciting because we have increased our numbers of schools that have distinction designations. We've got Acton, Central, Fair Meadows, Brandenburg, Hardin, Byrd, Kennemer, and Duncanville High School. So we are thrilled about the progress and that these schools, when compared to 39 other schools in the state, have earned distinction. So we're very proud of that work. And Acton also got 3. They had the most. So I wanted to bring that to everyone's attention. But congratulations goes out to all of them. It takes a lot of hard work and a lot of perseverance to get to the top of your game, and we have a lot of schools that are doing that, so they should all be commended. Back to Bill Hart's, we want to go over just a few points. We are going to appeal the rating. And so the intent to appeal, just to give you all this information, the window is open right now between August 14th and September 13th. We will put together an appeal packet with our documentation, and we will submit that to TEA by the deadline. We'll have more forthcoming information for you as this develops, but we do plan to appeal this rating. In December of 2019, TEA will notify school districts whether their appeals will be granted, and if so, at that time, if we are awarded that appeal, the final ratings will be released to the public with changes. Currently, we are undergoing a rescoring of writing for 15 selected writing assessments from Bill Hart's Elementary. We are submitting them to ETS, which is the company that does educational testing for the state. And they are being reviewed right now to be rescored and to possibly gain more points. So again, we'll give you further information as we know that from ETS. It looks like approximately 4 weeks in that time frame, so we'll know more at that time. The next thing I wanted to review very quickly is the new accountability system framework. We are moving from the TASE for school improvement to the effective school framework. TEA has designed a new methodology and a new system for school improvement. It's based on the 5 components that you see here: school leadership, well-supported teachers, culture, curricular resources that are high quality, and effective instruction.
Ms. Sewell?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you go back to the appeal process?
Yes, ma'am.
Explain to us what prompted the appeal, and then what evidence do you support for an appeal?
Okay, thank you for that question. The calculation from the data tables for Bill Hart's was a 59.3. And so it is a matter of just a review of some certain data points, and we are looking at the writing samples that had, one writing sample may have been scored a 3 and one was a 2, because at TEA, when they do writing calibrations, they have 2 people to score. So we're asking for those to be reviewed to see if those are aligned. So if a 2 moves up to a 3, then that moves up the possibility for an increased accountability average.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. And so back to the Effective Schools Framework, these are the 5 components. And for schools that are in school improvement, they will be assigned an Effective School Framework facilitator. That facilitator will help them go through a diagnostic process on those 5 components. Our teams will be going to training on that in the next week, so we'll have more information to bring to you after we undergo the training in this new framework. All districts in the state it's all new to all of us. So the facilitator will also support with prioritized practices and focus, and connecting and supporting districts with resources and research-based strategies, as well as aligning resources and partners to help schools and school districts for improvement. The interventions are listed here for campuses that will go into school improvement. Some of our schools have a D overall, and so they'll have to create improvement plans. They will have to have their improvement plan approved by the school board. So we'll be bringing those plans to you in the upcoming months. And they will have training that is not required but strongly encouraged for the schools that are Ds. A new component of school improvement is if a school is rated a D 2 years in a row, they will then be under the interventions that would be the same as an F school. So that's a new component of school improvement and interventions. A D in a domain, which if you all remember, we have the different domains, closing the achievement gaps and student achievement in those domains. A D in a domain will also require a campus to create a targeted improvement plan that we will bring to the school board also for your approval in the upcoming months. And lastly, an F overall, or a comprehensive school, will be required to engage in the diagnostic tool with the Effective Schools facilitator. They will also create their targeted improvement plan. However, the difference is for the F comprehensive schools, they have to submit their plans to TEA through ISAM, which is the Intervention Staging and Monitoring portal. So it's an online portal where they have to send those plans in, and we will have a TEA monitor assigned to us, as well as a monitor from Region 10. They will be looking at the plans at the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, and at the end of the year through conference calls with Region 10 and our TEA monitor. And again, we will be bringing those plans to you to approve as well in the upcoming months. So we have a lot in front of us, and as the accountability reports posted this Thursday, so did all of the new changes in school improvement and interventions. So these are hot off the press, and we are going to training to bring back more information to you all and to let you know what different things will be part of this and bring these plans to you all to approve. Some of the school improvement supports that I wanted to highlight very quickly as we close out. We are so excited that we have a teacher specialist at every campus this year. So we are so thrilled. Thank you, Dr. Smith, for your support, and the school board for allowing us to be able to expand that teacher specialist knowledge and that instructional capacity and leadership for our schools and school support. We are going to continue to support the targeted improvement plans. Principals will be working with their chiefs of schools on all of these different components and being accountable and definitely being monitored for all different points of school improvement. We will have ongoing training and development of content support through our content coordinators, our teacher specialists, as well as in our professional learning communities. So when teachers improve with their content, and they know their content better when they have the opportunity to learn from each other in professional learning communities, everybody gets stronger and better together. So we're going to continue to improve that and refine that as we all grow together. Lastly, we will increase our student support with individualized software programs. You all just approved some of those as we presented to the board earlier in the evening. And so we will be monitoring those reports and bringing those updates with those targeted improvement plans for our schools as well. And to close out, we have our district ratings with Duncanville at an 84, again, the best in the best Southwest, compared to Cedar Hill, Lancaster, and DeSoto, so congratulations. And also, we want to include, besides the Best Southwest, we have our area charter schools. And so charter schools also have number grades and letter grades, just like other districts. And so here's where we stand in comparison. And we're looking really good. There's a few A's, but we're the highest B, and we're leading the pack, not only in the Best Southwest, but also we're at the top of the pack when it comes to our charter school comparison. So thank you very much, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you all may have.
Can you get that last rating in the Dallas Morning News?
I'll get with Miss Richard. We'll work on that. Yes, ma'am. We'll get right on top of that, gladly.
Ms. Sewell, we are so proud of you and your staff, our entire SLT. When we saw that grade, we were thrilled beyond belief. I want to take this opportunity, too, to thank our leader, Dr. Mark Smith. He's passionate about our district. He has high expectations, and I think a B is great, but I can see that 84 going on up there. We appreciate his leadership because he is passionate, and he's undeniable, a great Panther, and I just so much appreciate his work and your work and our entire, all the teachers. This was not easy. We know this was not easy, and we just appreciate and admire you all so very much.
Thank you, Madam President.
Yes, thank you. And Dr. Smith has been such a wonderful leader to us all. He has brought us to this, and definitely think that he deserves our applause and everything. Thank you, Dr. Smith. It was a great team effort, and our team of principals and teachers and SLT and directors, we all have a great leader. So thank you all, and we have a great school board. We appreciate you.
And I must say, you're the only one I think who could rock a suit in that T-shirt we had at Convocation.
I did my best.
You did well. We do appreciate all of you. And a word about Convocation, Miss Richard and Dr. Smith, it rocked.
Yes,
And
it did.
it was so inspirational and motivational. I'm still up. It was so spirited. And I told Dr. Smith right after, I said, we've spent lots of money, thousands of dollars on great speakers, but there's nothing better than our own teachers, our staff, and our students. They rocked it. You're right, Janet. They rocked it. And so we appreciate your time and commitment to the Convocation. It was very enjoyable.
Thank you.
Okay, now we have time for communications from citizens. And I don't see any, do we? No,
We don't have any this evening.
Then I get to adjourn this meeting. Thank you all for coming.